Such an unflattering angle. Well, I thought I would do a little video journaling. I'm in a hotel in bed at like way too early because I woke up so early this morning, not intentionally. And so this old lady is going to bed early. So I'm in the Chicago suburbs for a training that starts tomorrow. It starts on my birthday. My birthday's tomorrow. My mom just texted me and said, "Whoa, your birthday is this year on 62626, and it'll never happen again, this date." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool." My mom to think about that and text me. I honestly keep forgetting it's my birthday this week. Like I've over the years have forgotten it so many times until somebody on the day of will remind me. One time, and I wonder if I already told you this, I repeat stories, but this one really sticks in my head. I think it was when I was turning 30. Oh my God, that's so long ago. Tomorrow I'll be 49. I'm actually really excited because it's ending in an odd number, and I love being in a year where it's ending in an odd number. I'm so excited. But anyway, so I was turning 30, and my husband at the time, and this was my ex-husband, so let's not get confused. Husband number one and I were commuting. We worked together and we commuted together, and I lived in Los Angeles. And so in the morning we would go to the gym super early so that we could shower, like we got ready at the gym and then went to work because it was closer to the work than to the home. So we just always did that. So anyway, that's irrelevant to the story. So we arrive at the gym and I hand her my membership card, the lady at the front desk. That's just what you did back then. You had to show it to a person instead of like scanning. This was before that, I guess. It would have been around 2005, probably. Oh no, I was 30, so it was 2007. I'm so dumb. So sleep deprived. So, because I was born in 77. So 2007, June 26, 2007, arrive at the gym, hand the card to the lady, and she scanned it, and she's like, "Oh, happy birthday." And I was like, "What? Oh, yeah, thanks." Like, totally forgot. And come to think of it, my husband hadn't said anything to me either. Maybe that's why we're divorced. Just kidding. He was wonderful. And so I have a history of forgetting my own birthday. And this year, because I'm more focused on this training I'm attending, totally keep forgetting that I'm having a birthday. But I am excited to be turning 49. 48 was just so even. It was just such an even number, so boring. And 49 feels like, oh, you know how like, I don't know, odd numbers are just more interesting to me. I've always loved odd numbers. And then I've loved 3, and I love 9 because it's 3 times 3. And 9 is like the ending of the decade I'm in, because once you go to 10, that's not really the end. That's the start of the next decade, right? So I'll be 50 after that. So this is the end of my 40s. One more year in my 40s. Honestly, it's gone like so fast and so slow. It's so weird. So I'm really going to enjoy the hell out of my 49th year. And when I turn 50, I'll be all like, "I'm 50 and I kick and I stretch." Like Molly Shannon, I think, in SNL. And that'll be my 50s. So 49, I don't know what is in store. I'm sure it'll be a better year in some ways. It's been quite a hard couple of months, I think, emotionally, and at the same time I've never felt more myself and never felt more at peace, and I think oftentimes those things do go hand in hand, don't they? Like truly challenging times, it's like, I almost said the word gauntlet, but I don't know that word, so I'm not gonna say it for real. But like when you go through what is that word? you just go through shit, and you're forced to like confront things. And a lot of stuff has come up this year for me in my own process and journey and personal growth and blah, blah, blah. That's really, I think, just made what's like everything that's not important is just seen for that, not important. And there's also this sort of end to, oh, what do you call it? Like the making myself feel bad about things that I don't need to feel bad about. That's one thing. I don't have any specific examples, but like there was a lot of recursive or reflective thinking that has just fallen away this year, and I'm really happy for that. And I have like 5 different trainings set up for the year. This is my 3rd out of 5 weeks where I'll be gone for different types of trainings all around trauma healing, nervous system regulation, stuff like that, which is my jam. So of course, going through the trainings has helped my own nervous system. Just keep ironing it out, smoothing it out where, it might have been bumpy in some places. And so overall, it's been like a really good healing year. At the same time, very hard. So I lost my father 3 weeks ago tomorrow. And I just found out 2 days ago that my landlord passed away, where I rent my studio space for my work. And I had to find it out online. It's such a shocker. Both of those things. Like, I still haven't comprehended it, and I just finished another wave of grief crying. It was, honestly, that stuff has felt really beautiful. Like it's like remembrances and really appreciating what these people meant to me. Obviously it's hard to compare my father with a landlord, but I think you understand, like sometimes you just can't quantify things, and equate it with levels of grief, because grief is weird, man. It just comes when it comes. And sometimes, like right now, it's sitting like right here, but this one feels right now a little lighter, like a little bit like I can still breathe, and it just feels like beautiful rememberings. And so, and sometimes it's hard, like to think about, oh my God, like to think about the last time you ever saw someone and not realizing that was going to be the last time. To me, that really hits. And so it really makes me want to be like, you just don't take things for granted. And I know that's such a cliche, and it's stuff like I've always said and felt. And this right now, it's hitting different, And so, oh look, it looks like my baby Yoda's tucked in to the bed. And so, yeah, so it's been a weird, challenging, beautiful year of like growth and peace and hardships, all of it. And it's like, oh, fuck yes, humanity. It feels like the full spectrum of being human right now. I love it so much. And also to feel like so much gratitude for so much, like all the time. I didn't know I was gonna get all weepy here. I thought that wave had passed by the time I turned this on. And the other thing that's happening is like, when I said like seeing the things that don't matter for what it is, and having all that shit, all the noise just sort of like fall away and get quiet. And like, so it's like, oh, well then what does matter, Obviously I've had a lot of gratitude for like my whole life, but some days more top of mind than others. But like this gratitude for every little thing, like it's wild sometimes what I catch myself like really being grateful for. You know, today I found this little coffee shop that was freaking beautiful. Like just beautiful, and it was not a chain. It was, so I was like, oh yeah, because when I travel I try not to go anywhere that I can go at home, so I wasn't going to go to a Starbucks or, you know, anything like that. And but I wanted like a fancy coffee, you know, treat yourself. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go get a cortado at this cute. I looked it up online, someplace close, and I was just grateful for like the people who were working there were so sweet. And then the coffee itself was like chef's kiss. And I love a cortado, and not every place will like make one for you, which is so weird because it's the most basic drink. It's just like espresso and steamed milk, but I use non-dairy. And so some places don't have very many like non-dairy options, and they had some stuff. So I was just grateful for all the little conveniences and little treats. And then the seating was so comfy, and I got to sit there and write and like just be. It was just awesome because in my town there aren't a lot of places where you can just go and be somewhere outside of your house, you know, unless it's like in a park. And I just wanted to be inside and write, you know. I didn't want to be outside at the moment. It's kind of hot. So in my town, it's like hard to find those spaces. We don't have like, oh, let's go sit at the coffee shop, you know. So I'm just rambling, but it's the little things, you know, and then being grateful for trees and, of course, the important people in my life. And my husband saw a patient today who he never tells, he can't tell me HIPAA and all that, so we don't share anything about anybody. It's funny, I think people assume that we do, and we don't. So unless that person says, hey, tell your husband or tell your wife, you know, like, hi, and I said this and that and blah blah blah. So I had one of those where one of my dearest, just one of the most beautiful people, you know, he saw, and she said, tell Elizabeth hi. So we got to have a conversation through my husband. And I was grateful for that, just knowing that they got to spend time together because I never get to see her. So I don't know, I'm just rambling. I didn't know I was going to talk about this. And then I think about silly shit that doesn't matter, and it just cracks me up nowadays instead of like irking me, you know. And I had a moment today. I think I was feeling tired. I don't want to make excuses, but I had this whole mix up with my hotel reservation, like the payments and all of that. Like they said they took the deposit. Expedia did. I never used freaking Expedia, but I did because they had the cheapest rate and blah, 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 blah. And so anyway, it was a mix up, but what happened was it was all on my part. And I had roped in the Expedia people, the hotel people, and then I went on my bank to try to figure this shit out. And all the while, it was just me being dumb. So then I spent the next 10 minutes apologizing to everyone involved and being like, I'm so sorry, I'm dumb. And I was like, because part of me was like so sleep deprived, I felt a little irritable. I don't think I was taking it out. Like, I don't think they perceived me as taking it out on them, but they knew I wasn't happy. And then, of course, other people, it's like I was a problem, you know, and I don't like being a problem for people. So, and then I was like, I'm so sorry. Thank you for being patient and helping me work through this and blah, blah, blah. And so I was really grateful that for their patience and that they didn't have an attitude with me when I was going through just stuff. So, did you ever have those days? And I had just driven 3 hours, which is nothing because I love a good drive. But for some reason, this 3 hours was like really tiring because I was sleep deprived. What am I even saying right now? I should just shut this off, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to probably share some videos over the coming days. Maybe at the end, probably in the beginning. I don't know. I'm a morning person, so I'll probably share some videos through the weekend of this training. It's like 4 days of trainings, and it's trauma healing. It should be interesting, having just like still in the midst of dealing with some grief and emotional stuff and like this shocking news. Like I still can't believe it. With my landlord, like I like what? And so it'll be kind of interesting to see like how this training goes when we're working with each other as practice, with each other's nervous systems. And I'll be like, with my partners, I'll be like, sorry, you're getting a messy one to practice with. Or I'll be like, you're welcome. It's going to be some really good practice. Anyway, I actually do feel pretty regulated most of the time. Today, maybe a hair less so. So what else is new? Hold on, I'm going to get a drink of water. I'm having a hot flash. As per usual, I was thinking about, I don't know if I think I tried to record some videos and then deleted them before I posted them. So I don't know if I've said this or not, but there's been a topic, and it's kind of on the same lines of like a place to go outside the home to like hang out and do creative stuff, Aren't you tired of, there's just like, well, see, I've lived in big cities, and so there was a plethora of places to go just exist without the pressure of being rushed or anything, like coffee shops and other bookstores and things like that. And in my small town, there's just nothing. I mean, maybe a couple, no, there's nothing. Where you could have some Wi-Fi and, have access to like water or a coffee drink or something. There's just nothing. So it's kind of along those lines. Not everyone, that's an exaggeration. So many people I've talked to lately are just craving like this. They all, okay, here are the themes of what I when I talk to people, what they're craving: connection, authentic, human to human, in person connection, creativity, creative expression. How would I characterize the third one? Self-care. But I'm in the world of self-care, so of course I'm having more of those conversations than maybe the average person. I don't know. Connection, creative expression, self-care, and healing. That, healing's such a weird word, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like things to nurture, self-nurturing, and a way to like nurture each other, and that kind of goes back into the connection piece. So there's just so much craving happening now, and it's all ages. It feels like, have you noticed that? Are you having those conversations? Are you feeling it yourself? Like, maybe it's like this post-COVID thing and the state of the union, the state of things in the world, where in COVID there was such an abrupt pause on the in-person stuff. And I feel like it's been a gradual like climbing out of that hole. And you might say it's well behind us in some ways. that piece of it is, the isolation piece maybe. But then but then there's this whole like, oh, we think we're back. And maybe this is what makes the feeling so much more obvious to us than it would have been without COVID, maybe. I don't know. I'm just riffing here. But when we came back out, dug back out of that isolation hole, this is not good on my neck. Then we were thinking, I feel like there was this expectation maybe that it would be a whole new world where it's like, then we would be in authentic connection with each other just because we were out of isolation. But no, we're still scrolling the social media. We're still engaging that way instead of person to person authentically. And that's broad strokes. Obviously, it's not 100% of the people 100% of the time. And ow, my hand. But in general, that's the feeling, is like there was this expectation with the lack of isolation that it would equate to authentic connection, but we're left feeling like, oh shit, no, it doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. I think there's a lot of here's another theme of the conversations. We want it to just happen. And it's like, I had this conversation with a dear friend the other day, and it was like, oh, I guess we're just going to have to build it. Build it and they will come. And not just us, but like we, the collective we, like if whatever we're not seeing, if there's nowhere to just plug in, oh, that means if we're still craving it and we don't see it, that means we have to make it. We have to build it. And, yeah. I feel like my whole life, it's like seeking and trying things out to see like what feels good and what will fill the gaps or whatever I kind of felt like in the past, where you're like, maybe this will make me happy. Maybe this is, will feel good. Well, I'll try this hobby, or I'll try this gathering and blah, blah, blah. You just do that as you're figuring out how to be a human in this life. and like, yeah, some things were great, some things weren't so great. And now it's to the point like I'm done like trying on just the things that are so obviously like already built in the world. I'm not done. There are certain things that if it popped up, I'd be like, oh, that sounds interesting. I still do that. But it's like, there feels like there's a gap where these cravings have to do with connection, creative expression, and like nurturing self and other. It feels like how to do that, it would take a space, or multiple spaces. It doesn't have to be one thing. It doesn't have to be one event on the calendar at a certain frequency. There's also this idea that it has a theme of like spontaneity. This is part of the craving, is like people just want to, this is what's hard to articulate. Something that we can plug into when we feel the urge to express, to create, to connect. So is it a space that's like always available, and it's always available? People can just arrive, read a book, play a board game, create art, do an open mic, poetry slam, play the guitar. I don't know. Sit down with each other in a circle and just like have different prompts, for like discussion, breath work, stretching. I don't like, it could be anything, literally anything. Because right now it feels like everything is so, just like the whole, through time, things have become so specialized and segmented and categorized, broken apart, broken down, where it's like, I think we're craving more integrated experience, or integrated, like, I think we ourselves want to feel more integrated, right? We are not just one thing, we are multifaceted. And it's like, I don't feel the same one day to the next. I have different interests one day to the next. There are common threads that weave through, that's always a part of what I'm interested in or what I'm drawn to. But like, some days I do just want to sit with somebody and talk over coffee. Some days I want to whip out all my art supplies and get messy. Some days I want to sit down and write poetry. Some days I want to sit up and speak poetry, or whatever, or tell a joke, or do a tarot reading, read a book, all the things. Go to a sound bowl healing, do a yoga class, do a Pilates class. I really need to get back into Pilates, and it's like, but then there's a spontaneity piece. It's like, to have all those siloed things on the calendar is kind of boring. It's like, I don't think that's the way the world's going. I feel like we want more integrated spaces, like maker labs, which is something I always dreamed of even over 10 years ago. And then life got busy with other things, but, or my interests went in other places. So I'm like, is it a space that just where we can all show up and bring our, like, I'll just like bring my stuff, you bring your stuff. I'll donate a bunch of board games and art supplies and tables and Wi-Fi and an electric kettle so you can make instant coffee drinks. I don't know, tea, and then see what happens. Because there's this funny thing that a lot of people I talk to kind of have the same feeling about. It's like, when those cravings hit, it's not at the same time every day. It's not even every day, but it's like it'll grab you, right? You're like, oh, I have time and the desire, and it's like all the stars are aligning, for to want to jump into all those things I just described. And then the moment passes because there's like, and the space isn't there, or the people aren't available that I want to connect with or whatever. And so it's like, if there was a space, maybe it's just like I could arrive and like whoever's there is there, or nobody's there. And there'd be headphones too. So if somebody's playing guitar and you don't like it and you want to just read your book, you can just put on headphones, I don't know. I'm just riffing on, like, it probably isn't going to be that, but I feel like it's going to be something like that. Like, we're going to be creating spaces that are more integrated spaces, I think, is what it comes down to. It's like the way of the future. I'm not psychic, but I play one on YouTube. Just kidding. So because yeah. And so what I was going to say is, like, the whole spontaneity piece is the other piece that people are really craving. Is like, okay, when it hits, I want to jump all in, but in the absence, like, it doesn't exist yet. It's not like, even if I had like a text thread, it would be, if people, I was like, okay, where is everybody? Anybody meeting up? And then if nobody responds, well, in 5 minutes, I'm on to the next thing. So time is of the essence, In 5 minutes, I will be home mowing the lawn or something, and then I won't want to go back out because I'm old. And we have that thing where once I'm home, and I take off the bra, I'm not going back out. Just kidding. Bras are stupid. I don't think we should be wearing them. But anyway, you know what I mean. So it's like time is of the essence. When it hits, and and you have to seize the opportunity to connect, to creatively express, and to nurture yourself. And so, do you want to build that with me? Like, I think we're just gonna have to figure it out, or the younger generations will, because this is how grassroots stuff happens, right? This is how community is built. And I heard in the same week, this is funny too. I must have a lot of these conversations. That's another thing I'm grateful for. So in the same exact week, I had one person I was talking to say, I just love our community. You know, there's so much opportunity to get involved because I live in a very small town. So there's just, it seems to be more apparent of ways to get involved. I don't know. It just feels like sometimes it feels that way. Like there's opportunity even in our rinky-dink town. So it may be because it's small, it feels like because we kind of know everybody, you think you do anyway. That's maybe where that feeling comes from. It's like the sense of community, just because they're the same characters, you see a lot of places. And so that was one conversation. That a couple days later, in the same week, somebody was like, we don't have a sense of community here. They're like it's really a bummer. I was like, am I in the same place? Like, but that's just it. And that person, the second person, admitted, they're like, or maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. And I kind of had a little giggle. I'm like, yeah, it can be like that, where it's like, it's again, everything's kind of like an inside job, inside feeling of what you see on the outside is like, it's a reflection of how you feel on the inside. So I totally resonate with that. Like in those moments where it's like, oh man, our community, there's just no sense of community. It's like, that means I'm probably feeling very isolated, like I'm craving the thing and I'm not seeing it. And maybe in that moment I don't have the oomph to create it, like I haven't been caffeinated enough or something. So I'm just rambling, but do you feel all those things? Is there that sense? And I don't know about this whole like introvert extrovert thing, because the people I'm talking to would self-identify, some of them, as introverted and still craving these exact things we're talking about. So I don't think that's really necessarily part of it. And I'm not so sure it's as easy to define introvert versus extrovert as we once thought, maybe. I think it's a complex thing, and it means something different to different people. I would have once said like, introverted is I prefer to be alone, extroverted is I prefer to be in the company of other people. I don't believe that anymore. It's almost like I think it evolved into what was one of my recent understandings of it for myself anyway, was like introverted was how much do I feel energized by alone time, like in doing my own thing in my own little world. Doesn't necessarily mean rest. It just means like, oh, I'm gonna maybe go home and read, or go home and do my own crafts, or do my own projects, or just like, so how much am I energized or rejuvenated, either by myself or by the energy of in groups and other people. Are these the same thing? I don't know. But I still think it's even more complex than that, or it's not a thing at all. I don't know. But I was talking with somebody about this the other day, and her boyfriend is somebody who definitely needs a lot of recovery time after being in the company of others. And I totally relate to that sometimes, where I can go out and just feel so energized in the company of other people. And also I sure need some time to re-energize after that. So it's like the both and for me. Like being around people energizes me. And then it's almost like equal proportions. There's like a direct relationship with then how much time alone I need. Need is, I don't know if that's true, want to recharge or just feel balanced. It's not even a recharging. It's that's a whole maybe misconception too. It's just ease of language. I think we say these things a lot of times, but it's really about feeling balanced. Maybe that's what it's about. Where's your like fulcrum for the balance, the point on the spectrum of peopling and not peopling, and where's your sense of balance? For me, I wonder if it's almost which is weird because I've never felt balanced, but I almost feel like maybe it's equal parts nowadays, which makes sense because every time I take the Myers-Briggs personality assessment, hasn't been too many times, but a handful of times over the years, I teeter in the introvert extrovert spectrum because you probably know what it is, but if you don't, it's a questionnaire, and then at the end you see where you fall between two different extremes of things, like in this case introvert extrovert. And I always teeter between introvert and extrovert, one dot on one side or one dot on the other, so I'm very close to the middle. So I guess it makes sense, like equal parts make me feel balanced. What about you? And is your definition of that old thing, introvert extrovert, changing as you get older, or as you evolve your understanding of it? I don't know. It just feels more, and maybe as there's just more nuance to things. It's more interesting than thinking in black and white anyway. So I think that's just the natural evolution of thought as when you get older. Maybe because my birthday's tomorrow and I'll be 49, my last year of my 40s. This has been a year of a decade of evolution. It's been a lifetime of evolution, let's be honest. But it's these last handful of years has been more of okay, I've lived a lot of life. What does this personhood make of it? Like, what is this entity? How is it integrating my life's experiences into wisdom? So that's what it's felt like. It's felt like alchemy. It's felt like integration. And now what I'm excited for is like my 50s. It's like, it almost feels like that's where things really take off. It's exciting. In what ways? I don't know, but I have some ideas. And they're going to be hard years. I don't like family stuff, and health issues with family are still ongoing, and losing a parent, very unexpectedly, and he was the healthy one out of everybody. What I was thinking about that, out of all my family members, and I have a lot, he's the healthiest. Pretty much one of the top 3 healthiest. I have a very large family. So you just never know what's going to happen. So I feel like with that coming in at the end of my 40s, and then I don't want to say it, but I don't think my other parent is doing so well. So that's going to be a hard next year or so, or however long I'm so lucky to have with her. That I think it's going to be the both and again. There's going to be like really tough times because it's no matter how old you are, it's hard to lose your parents. No matter what kind of relationship you had with them, there's still like feelings that will be processed and some growth and integration. And so there's the both and of like the hard times, the challenging times, and the growth times, the evolution times into greater things. And I think 50s, like the mid to late 40s have been a lot of less and less caring or being affected by. I don't want to use the word care because I deeply care about other people and the way people feel. Obviously. I hope that's obvious. It's more about not being affected by other people's opinions because opinions are, what they are. And judgments and criticisms. And honestly, most of that lived in my head. It was like ideas of what those people might think about me. And that's a big ego thing. And it's like, really, if anyone was like criticizing me or had opinions, I just don't care. They, in the sense that they don't affect me. They don't affect the way I feel about myself. And that wasn't the case when I was younger, being a people pleaser. I think I'm like in like the 12-step recovery of if there was one for people pleasing. I think I've made it to step 10. I have no idea what the steps are, but I feel like I've gotten much farther along these last few years. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for that too. Where it's like, it's all about intentions, isn't it? Like, I really care about the way people feel. And that's my intention, is to, how you like leave a space better than you found? I want to leave people better than I found them. In whatever minuscule way I can have an influence on that with our interaction. That's what I mean by it. Not like fix people or like, make them something they're not, or have some weird idea of like, you could be better and here's how and I'll help you. That's not what I mean at all. That's ridiculous. It's like whatever interaction we have, if you can have a smile, if we can have a laugh, instill some like brightness into the day, whatever. That's what I mean by leaving people better than you found them. It's like leave no trace in hiking. It's like leave no bad vibes. And instead try to actually go above and beyond and leave some good vibes. And I think what all this nonsense I'm rambling about boils down to is like, get busy living and like doing what really matters. And so part of my 50s, hopefully 49, will be like more and more about what really matters, figuring out what really matters, what I'm really called to be doing with this time and attention, because I know time's a construct, so just, grain of salt here, but it's more about my attention. Don't you feel like that's all we really have to give is our attention? I mean, the social media people know it. They've known that the whole time. They monetize our attention. Our employers, if you work for somebody, they pay for our attention, to wherever we're placing it. on their behalf. So it's like, that's all we really have. Like, to attend to is to love, to show care. I don't know the definition, but that's what I would think it kind of is. So it's like, I want to attend more to my meaningful relationships. Like I said, you never know when the last person you're going to see somebody is. Because, like, it could have been a week ago I saw so and so. I didn't realize that was the last time I was going to see him. I would have hugged them. Would have hugged them harder, you know? So it's like, whatever we attend to, like, that's everything, is our attention. So part of me, like, if I find myself scrolling on social media, I'm like, well, shit. Like, I just, like, leaked my most valuable asset out, and it did no good in the world, right? It just drained into the sewer. Except, like, I feel like there still might be a tiny little bit of value, tiny, if I heart somebody's post, because I know those little heart hits that people look at make them feel good, and that's why I heart things. It's like, I want to be part of, like, the feel good part that they get out of that, but it still does, like, I could be texting them, I could be calling them, I could be sending them a card in the mail. There's so many other ways to attend to somebody's feel good, So I think as I go into 49 and into my 50s, that is somewhere I'm being called. It's like into more authentic person to person connection, which was the whole point of this video, apparently. So I'm gonna plug in my phone. You can tell it's the sun's going down out there. It's getting darker in here, and I'm gonna do some writing before bed and try to get some good sleep so I can wake up fresh on 62626. Yeah, share your thoughts. What do you feel like it's like time to get busy living? Again, my situation this year has definitely influenced me getting to that, to like I said, articulate it in that way, even though I've felt these things for a long time. It's like things coming to a focal point of like, shit, dog, that's all that matters, and it's all that's ever mattered. But I just used to let so much crap get in the way of that, like distraction and placing more emphasis and meaning in things that were not simple attention. And I've thought a lot about this. Attention, that's like literally all we have to give. And I was thinking about the way that, like, it's such a valuable resource because it's something that when I give it, it's like it can only go in one direction in a moment. You might think, and maybe you might think you're placing attention in many places, like, oh, I'm multitasking. And it's like, well, we know that's a fallacy. You can't truly multitask. You just can't. You can context switch, and you might be really fast at it. And some people are slower, and some people are faster. But it's still not simultaneous, right? Even in the computer world, when they called it like, what was it called? I'm out of the field. But it wasn't like multi-threaded. It was still like super fast switching. Back in the day, maybe they've, gotten better with quantum computing. But anyway, so it's like attention can only go, and so something that is like there's only one way it can go in this moment, that is a hot commodity. And where it goes has the ability to amplify something. It's like, how do you say, if let's do the transitive property of attention. So if attention is to attend to, which is to care for, which is to love. So let's say attention equals love. It's like to share love. It's like it can't be depleted. It's not like you run out of love. And in fact, by giving love, sharing love, it increases the amount of love in the world. It's not like, oh, I just gave it and so now I'm no longer with it. It just transferred to somebody else. No, I feel more of it when I give it, and that person feels more of it when they receive it. And therefore, it's increased the amount of love in the world. So it's like somehow, if attention is kind of like that, it's like to give attention is like, oh, and then you feel it, you receive it, and I'm showing it. I haven't lost it, but it's like unidirectional, which makes it more amplified, Don't you like, because when your attention is split, the other person feels that and they don't feel as important, right? They feel almost abandoned. I've talked about this with some other people, actually in my last training, and it's something that I think a lot about because I feel it as as my own wounding from childhood, and I know other people, a lot of other people feel this too, especially maybe my generation, Gen X, where it was like, suck it up, buttercup, and children should be seen, not heard, and that, that generation sort of thing. And so it's like, we weren't given a lot of attention on the whole. I'm just saying broad strokes here. So it was like, go out and play all day and come home at dinner. It wasn't lovey-dovey. It wasn't, love was shown and felt in other ways, So it's like, so it's part of my particular wounding from childhood conditioning and childhood trauma, and other people have this too. So I was talking with people about it because somebody shared, they were very vulnerable and open and sharing this, that one of their biggest triggers is when you're talking with someone. Oh, I can't even talk about it. I feel it. I feel it. It's been, when she named it, I was like, holy fuck, that's been, yes, you named the thing I've never been able to put my finger on. I've always felt it, but couldn't name it. Here it is. Tell me if this resonates, if you're still watching this far in, all the rambling. She said, when you're talking with somebody, like, she's over expressive in her facial expressions, and so am I. I'm a little ridiculous. I always thought it was the people pleasing part, like me. But here's what it is, partly. You're talking with somebody and you're like, me, I'm this way. I'm all in. I am all in. I notice if my attention gets bifurcated, like split, and I don't like that feeling in myself, so I bring it back, like, hopefully the other person doesn't notice, like a thought comes in, like, oh, I better make a mental note, like, even in that slight moment, I feel like, uh-oh, my attention got so I'm all into somebody, and I'm like making eye contact and listening, and that was a lesson I learned early on, like active listening, like, and I'm a curious person, so I actually want to do that. So it hurts extra hard because she was sharing, like, when she's talking with somebody and we're having a conversation, she's like, and then they leave. Their eyes may still be on me, but they've left the building. And I'm like, dagger to the heart. Yes, you named it. That's the thing that always gets me and makes me feel abandoned. It makes me feel uncared for, uninteresting. The person doesn't want to be engaged in what we have. And here I am thinking we're doing one thing and they're gone, and it's a real wound for a lot of us. And that's attention. Because attention is so valuable. It is all we have to give, which is love, transitive property. So it's like, does that hurt? Have you felt that in relation with other people, in conversation with other people, and you think you're there, and then they've left the building, and you're like, and it's so weird too, because it's like they're still looking at you, but they're gone. Maybe we are so attuned as humans to subtle body language and facial expressions. Like, we're so attuned. And then when you come from that wounding, you may be hyper attuned to it. I don't know. So anyway, the more we can like be in it with each other is like what we're craving nowadays. Because we've done the social media thing, and we're like, I think a lot of us are just over it. We're over it. We want real human stuff again. So yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I better start to wind down for the night. Let me know your thoughts on this. It's something I think about a lot, and I'm now having a lot of conversations about it, and it's time to start building our new ways to authentically connect. It's like going back to the 90s with landlines and like spiral phone cords that are connected to the wall, and like calling each other, and just like, yeah, going back to the 90s, but forward in time, not truly backwards. I think you know what I mean. Okay, bye.